Thanks a lot, everybody. It's me again, back here after 20 minutes. Except this time I'm with someone on the other side of the aisle. 20 minutes ago, I was with Mr. Michael Goris from Standard Chartered, and now it's Grace Yin from Tencent Pay. Actually, Tencent and WeChat dominated much of my conversation with Mr. Goris just now, but if everybody has already got their headsets on, we'll start in Mandarin. Grace, 你好。
你好。
非常感谢今天来到这个 RISE 大会现场。
Welcome to RISE today. Actually, back on the backstage, we'll talk about the activating users in the worldwide. We have 900 million, and users of WeChat payment, there are over 600 million of them. So some of you may not have a good understanding of how big the sizes are. So on top of these two figures, anything that you can let us know about the market share, for instance, of WeChat in China? Well, according to the last quarter's financial report, WeChat and Tencent, we have 638 million users, and the daily transactions is over 600 million. So this happened in one day. And in terms of the market share, what I could say to you is that compared with our previous performance, we have a great increase. So we understand that in fintech, we are very much sensitive to the market share because there's a fierce competition between different players. So WeChat, in the past few years, you are growing and you are seizing the market shares. How about the speed? How fast are you in taking up the market shares? I would say to you that in big cities, most of people will no need to take their purse with them when they're going out. So it's actually a revolution that is happening everywhere. You could use your mobile phone to make payment on your WeChat platform. We said that in some traditional areas, especially in hospitals or in some government organizations, you could use a mobile phone instead of a bank card. And in our daily lives, just how often you lose your purse, how often you lose your wallet. Well, actually, you take out your mobile phone more times than you take out your purse. So I think that everyone can feel that it is now revolution already. So as a journalist and as a host for today's talk, I would like to say a few words about what you have been doing in China, because every day when we are seeing media reports on fintech development in China and mobile payment in China, well, most of them were mentioned WeChat. If you go with your mobile phone, there's no need for you to take your wallet anymore. You can even use your mobile phone to pay your traffic fines. And underneath our, in our company, in our offices, there are some food cards, and you don't need to pay in cash. You can just show the QR code and you just swipe it and then done. So for businesses as small as a food cart by the roadside, you could use WeChat payment, and there's no need for them to give you an change in cash, and it's better for the hygiene for the food, right? So this is just a small example of how you could use mobile payment. And on the other hand, we are trying to provide more convenience for the small businesses.
除了商业之外呢，我自己印
So
象
in
比较深刻的
addition
就是
，to
在北京街头连
what
这
you have
个
said, I remember when I was visiting
乞讨的人
Beijing,
都已经开
I
始
even
微
saw
信
some
支付
beggars
扫码
on
真
the
的一
street
点儿也不夸张。
presenting a
这
QR
个
code in front of them and begging for
另外
money.
一方面，我觉得特别印象深刻的就
And
是
what impressed
连
me
慈善捐
most
助。
is that you could
比如
also
说过去
use
我一年
mobile
我选
payment
择捐助
for
了几个
charity
这个
purposes.
乡下
I
留守儿童
decided
或者
to
是这
make
个
some
乡
regular
村学校类似这样
donation
的项目。
to some children from
这几
rural
个项目完全
areas
一
who are
分钱不
very
用。
poor,
我在
and
我在
I
微
don't
信上
need
面找
to
到相关
do
项目的介
anything
绍，
else
然后
rather
我
than
捐款
just
也直接通过微信支
click
付进行，
on my
一切
mobile
都是几
phone.
秒钟之内就能
Everything
够完成。
is finished
所以这个的
within
确
a
让人
few
印象非常深
seconds,
刻。
very quickly and very
国
convenient.
内的医疗行业
Yes,
的时候，其
because
实我
when
们也
we
发
were
现
trying
医
to
院里面
enter
有一
into
些
the
比如说
vertical
家庭
of
非常困难的
healthcare,
孩子，
I
然后
found
他
that
其实
there
在
are
治
some
病的过
kids
程
who are
当
from
中是
poor
需要一些
family
捐助
and
的。
they
但
need
传
some
统的医院
donation.
常常
But
就是放一个卡销
traditionally,
在那边，
the
其实没有
hospital
人
would
会
just
在意，
put
而
a
且根本不
donation
知道
box
就是
out
到
there
底
in
是
the
什么样的
lobby,
一个
but
情况。
nobody
我
would
们后来把他们的
give
捐
it
款
a,
箱全部
you
都改
know,
成了一个电子
attention.
化捐
So
款箱，
if
就是
we,
去
you
贴
know,
一些海
use
报
the
在他们
mobile
的这些
payment
公
method,
布
we
栏里
just
面，然后去放一个二
made
维
a
码，
poster
扫进去之后，
on
你就会
the
看到最近需要
wall,
捐助
and
的在
then
这个医院
you
救
could
助的
just
孩子的一些
scan
病
it
情的
and
信
you'll be
息
able to see
和
the
一些内
information
容，
about
然
the
后您觉
kids,
得
what
需
is
要，你
this
就可以
they
直
got,
接
and
去
if
捐
you
款给这
feel
个孩
like
子。
making
然
a
后其实
donation,
摆
you
一个那个
just
捐款箱，整个的捐款的这个额
use
度
the
和整个的
WeChat
这个接
to
受度要
donate.
高于以前，大概
And
提升200%。
with that way, we raise
Okay.
more money,
的确非
200%
常的
more
这个让人
money
印象
than
深
we
刻。那好，
did
现
in
在
the
这个
past.
广告做完了，我
So
们开始
now
看这
that's
个
the
挑
end
战
of
吧。
the
我们今天的
advertisement
话题
time.
是
Maybe
这
we
个
can
breaking down
switch
borders，就是
back to
如何这个
our
打破
theme
国
for
界的这个
today,
界限，或
which
者是
is
甚至比
breaking
国界
down
更广的这种
borders. How
这
can we
个
go to
界
more
限。
markets and more
很
countries
多像我
for
们这样的外
WeChat
媒在报道
payment?
中呢，注意
Well, a
到一
lot
个问
of
题，就是
foreign
微信虽
media
然在国内
they said that
不管
in
是微信的还
China,
是这个阿里的
WeChat
这个
or
支付宝
Alipay,
都已经占有
they
这
are
个非常强大的地位，
very
甚至连
strong
这个
already.
非常强大的
They already got
传
a
统国有
very
银行现
solid
在都要跟这
foundation. They are
你们这样的这个金
even
融巨
being able
线
to
上金融巨
compete
头来做合
with
作。
traditional
但是另外一
banks.
方面呢，在你们向国外扩张的
But
时候，
on the
仍
other
旧面
hand,
临很
when
大的
you
困
are
难。
going to overseas
有的外
market,
媒
you
说
still
呢，这
face
个
with
微
a
信
lot
的
of
支付宝在海外
challenges.
扩张过程中，
Some
主要
people
是
say
靠中
that
国在海外
you
做
are
生意的生意人，
relying
还有这个
heavily
中国的
on
留学生
Chinese
是在他们
people
在扩
who are
展市场。
studying
那
and
据你
working
所知，现在的
abroad.
这个至少从微信支付的角度来
as
讲，你
you
们发展
see
的
it,
现实情况是这样的吗？
what is the latest
我们其实就
development?
是我分开说，就是前半部分确实说，就是在推广海外市场的时候。
Okay, the first half we think that for the overseas markets in China and the overseas have some difference. So actually in the China, the users, they can repay the commercial. In comparison, in the overseas, including our partners, not only the banks, actually their understanding of WeChat Pay is not much. So they just think it's a new payment method, and they will question that we already have many payment methods. Why should we add one? So we have to educate them, and this process, for the education for commerces and also for banks are more difficult overseas than comparing to inside. So in China, actually, when we do the charity payment, we have the authorization from central bank, then it's okay. But for overseas, we need more authorization and more regulation. We also need to be regulated by the foreign exchange authorities, and also we have to comply to the legality in China and also in different countries. So therefore, in the China and also overseas, we have faced a lot of challenges. And so, for example, previously we have an example in Thailand, then they don't have a really obvious legality to regulate payment overseas. But after we enter the Thailand market, many of the Thai merchants, they request for us. So together we explored the security issues and also together they have set a new law, new regulations, and new license for finance institutes. So therefore, we must work with licensed finance institutes, not just any bank or anybody. Yeah. So in this process, for the communication and for the education, we have faced a tremendous amount of challenge and difficulties. On the other hand, I know that you have to work a lot on the regulation and the compliance for this. In China, the policy for regulating the internet also has received some negative feedback from the media and raised some worries and concerns from people. So how do you solve this problem? But actually, for the WeChat Pay, our main audience, our main users are overseas, are travelers from China. So we need to convince the merchants and also we convince banks that the information are safe and secured, and all this data and all the structure for the information securities. After they have evaluated, after they understand, then we'll give them confidence that this is a secure transaction. So for your ambition for overseas expansion, is your ambition only focus on overseas Chinese or Chinese people from around the world, or also internationally? I can say that everything is possible for Tencent. Our vision is to provide the services to serve our customers. So even though our users, when they travel overseas, can they use the same payment method as if they're in China? So we want to make a seamless transaction. So on the first steps, of course, we are focusing on the Chinese audience, Chinese users who are already used to this payment methods. But the next step, we cannot say that we will limit, not to expand it to other overseas markets. But in the short term, our focus will be on the travelers, mainly from China, who already use these methods. Yeah. So yes, so also there are many Chinese people who already live overseas, and then they also work with regulators and other governments. Yes, I understand. I think that when in the beginning in China, for WeChat Pay, our development relies on our open policy. So we hope that we can provide the basic foundations and products for our users, and then we will sector different products for different verticals, different industries, and then to provide more systematic services and products for all our merchants. So I know that the WeChat is very careful for operating. So in the next few years, how will you expand to the overseas? I can say that everything is possible. Yes, so I could say that we already have started many things, but we cannot say that. But in the future, how will we develop whether it will be so-called radical, as you mentioned, that we will see. Thank you.